AITA for refusing to return a bag that I bought with my money. English is no my first language. I apologize in advance for any mistake. I, 19F, work at a thrift store 3 days a week. It's quite a big one. And a lot of people in my area come and shop there. Every product is labeled in accordance to a color-coded system. And the color changes every week. Furthermore, there is section in the store that sells the more expensive donations. Mostly brands. These products are usually sold at a higher price. I'm a very low-level employee and my job is to place the products on the shelves and on the poles. Because of that, I see what is about to be sold in advance. However, I can't buy anything that is labeled with the color of the week. So, for example, if this week's color is red, I have to wait until the next week to buy anything with the labeled in red. Now, I usually work on weekends plus a random day of the week. 2 weeks ago, it fell on a Tuesday. That meant that we had just started a new color, yellow. As I was putting bags on a shelf, I realized that one of them was from a very expensive fashion brand. On first glance, you wouldn't be able to recognize it. But because I spend too much time on Pinterest, I immediately started panicking. This bag, that usually retails for a few thousands, in sale at a thrift store for $12.99? I was going to faint. Unfortunately for me, because it was labeled in yellow, I couldn't have it, because it's not the first time this sort of thing happens. I calmed down, put the bag back in his place and continued my job. As I was going on with my day, I kept going back at the same section, praying that no one had taken it. At the end of my shift, I saw that it was still there and I decided that, if no one had bought it, I would. 4 days later, I come back to start my day and I see that the bag is still there. But it was now further back on the shelf, behind some other ones. I don't touch anything. I kept doing my job. Did the same on Sunday. Last Monday, I woke up and went there to shop. As soon as I entered to store, I went to the bag section and took the bag, beeline to checkout and bought it. I was so excited. I guess some of my excitement was showing because my coworker asked me why I was smiling. Me and this coworker usually get on well and I explained to her the situation. She smiled and told me she was happy for me. Last Saturday, while on my shift, my boss called me in his office to talk. He was with one of my managers and they went on to tell me that I had acted inappropriately by not notifying them of the price of the bag. They asked that I return it so that they would put it back on sale, this time at a much higher price. I told them no, because I followed the policy. They weren't happy, but they couldn't force me. Yesterday, when I got to work, my coworkers kept on making remarks and my managers had this unhappy look on their faces. I explained the story to my friend and she said that even if it's my bag, it's not fate that I kept the information for myself. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Is pricing things and determining what gets sold in which part of the shop your job? Because it sounds like it's not. Their lack of knowledge isn't your job to correct, unless they're consulting you on pricing and paying you accordingly. NTA. NTA. Well done for finding a good deal. Learn your lesson though. Colleagues, bosses aren't your friends. In future, keep your mouth shut. NTA, but your decision to tell your coworker was not smart. NTA policy was followed. Not your fault they didn't check it properly. NTA. They should have done their due diligence. They want you to return it so they can make more money off of it. NTA. You didn't price the bag. You didn't hide the bag. You waited until it was appropriate to buy it. Customers could have purchased it during that time. The only reason anyone knows you got a deal is because you told someone. Next time, keep it to yourself. NTA, but seriously, why would you trust your coworker with this information? NTA. Also, advice. Don't bring your bag to work. Your coworker seems really envious. So I'd guess something would happen to the bag. NTA. You said you are a low-level employee. Obviously nobody paid any attention, employee or customer, and noticed that the bag was at a deep discount. Your mistake was in sharing the information with someone you thought you could trust also. Unless you have been specifically told to report possible errors, it's not your responsibility. Some people might like you less because of it, but you waited and bought it after the required time. Don't allow anyone to guilt you into returning it. NTA. My guess is your boss would have just stashed it for themselves then sold it online. If they're worried they're selling products at too low of a price, maybe they should give you a different position to identify pricey brands to put in a different section, since having an eye for that is something you're already good at. NTA. You followed their policy and bought the bag at the price they set. It's not your job to do the research on how much items cost and how to price them. NTA. They are just mad they didn't do it themselves. Keep it, and if they keep harassing you, take it to your local labor authority. Dollars to donuts. One of the managers saw it and hid it behind stuff so they could do the same. The fact that you beat them to it is what they are mad about. Still say NTA. Greed on the management and workers' account. Next time don't talk. NTA. Knowledge is power. If the bag is worth thousands, that sounds like a profit potential better than the job. You're not the asshole. That bag was donated and they set a price for it that they were willing to accept for it. If they didn't catch that it was a very expensive bag, that isn't your fault. You aren't being paid to evaluate the market price of bags. You followed the policy and should keep that bag. NTA. You could have been wrong, and it's not your responsibility to mark the prices on the items in the store. You just have to put them on the shelf. It's just like in a regular store. If the store marks the item incorrectly, less than the actual price, then they have to give it to you at that particular price. I had that happen. I saw an item marked down to $4.99, even though I know the price should have been at least close to $50. They initially tried to say that I had switched the tags, but the register display actually said what the item was and the ticketed price. They had no choice but to give me the item. To make it more hilarious, others in line actually ran back and snatched up the rest of the items. Lol. Someone had screwed up, but it wasn't me. NTA. But don't trust the coworker with any information like that anymore, as she was the one that told the managers. NTA. So somebody else hid it at the back to buy it cheap, and only informed them about the price when you bought it before they could. Tehi just want you to give it back so some boss can buy it cheap. NTA. But never tell anyone you work with the real value of an item you are buying.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.